All right, so this is my Week 12 NBA Power Rankings. Let's get started. First, we got our injuries up here. Um, Ben Simmons was supposed to potentially be back this week. We still don't have a for sure timeline on that. It's going to be a couple more weeks probably. Lonnie Walker is back for the Nets. DeAndre Hunter could return this week. John Morant is now injured for the season with a labrum injury or something like that. He had to get injured it in practice and then have to get shoulder surgery, so he's going to be out for the season. So the Grizzlies are basically screwed right now. Derrick Rose is going to be injured for about a week. Actually, Kleber's been questionable to return for like 6 weeks right now. He has a toe injury and he's been out for 9 weeks. I don't know what's the problem there. Moses Brown's going to be out for about 6 weeks. Um, Pistons, Monte Morris should be back soon. Isaiah Stewart, has missed about a week, should return sometime this week. Cade Cunningham's going to be out for about a week. LaMelo Ball did have a full 5-on-5 practice, so he could return soon. Julian Strawther is going to be out indefinitely for the Nuggets. Chris Paul is going to be out for about 4 to 6 weeks, so about until after the All-Star break, he might return. And then Draymond did get reinstated and should be back playing this week. Gary Payton is also going to be out for about 3 weeks for the Warriors. For the Rockets, Dylan Brooks has been out for the last 2 weeks. He should return sometime this week. Day'Ron Sharp's going to be out for about 2 weeks for the Nets. Tyrese Halliburton's going to be out for a couple weeks for the Pacers. So that's going to hurt them a lot. Jay Crowder could be back soon. Zach LaVine is now back after he missed about 5 weeks. And Darius Garland could return sometime this week or next week from his injury. All right, so 30, we got the Detroit Pistons, obviously. They're pretty bad, 3-33, 0-3 in the week. It's not a good basketball team. And right now, what I got down here, I'm just giving a couple assets that people could give up for trades and potential trade targets for them. For the Pistons, you're basically selling most of your team here, and then just trying to get cap space picks and young guys. At number 29, we got the San Antonio Spurs, who are 5-30, went 0-3 on the week. Just not a good basketball team right now. Obviously, you did not play bad this week. You only lost to the Bucks by 4 and to the Cavs by 2, so you had some close games, but you still weren't able to pull out a win. And for your trades here, you're giving up, guys like Devontae Graham, Doug McDermott, and Jetty Osman, who aren't really good pieces for you guys going forward. And trying to maximize any value you can get out of those guys. At number 28, we got the Portland Trailblazers, who are 10-25 and 1-2 on the week. So they're not a horrible team, but they're pretty bad. At least they win a third of their games ish around there. So that's good for them, I guess. Still not a great team. And missing Moses Brown for about 6 weeks is going to hurt you a little bit because your depth is already lacking a little bit. Because you also did cut Ishmael Wainwright and you cut Skylar Mays. I'm not really sure why you did those moves because I thought the guys were, at the very least, good enough to be on your team. Skylar Mays is a decent role player there. I don't know why you cut him, but, you're not a very good team anyway, so it doesn't really make too big of a difference. And you got some good assets you can still end up trading here, like Malcolm Brogdon and Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams, all those guys that aren't going to be really big pieces of your team moving forward, and you can maximize getting some good cap space or picks or something for those guys. At number 27, we got the Washington Wizards, who are 6-30, 0-4 in the week. They're a really bad team right now. 6-30 is definitely not a good record. It's actually third worst record in the entire league. Obviously behind like the Pistons and the Hornets. I guess they're behind the Spurs too. Wait, no, they might be ahead of the Hornets. I don't know. I think they're behind the Spurs and the Pistons only. Yeah, but they're not a good team right now. Obviously. Their assets here, they got a whole bunch of assets. Basically, anybody that you don't think is going to be on this team next year, which would be all these guys here except for Kyle Kuzma. And then, a guy like Kyle Kuzma is, somebody you could try to trade away to see if you can get value out of him. But I'm not opposed to keeping him around. At number 26, there we do got the Charlotte Hornets, who are 8-26. Went 1-2 this week. They had an 11-game losing streak, and they finally got a win here. So that's good to see there. Still not a very good team. Obviously, without LaMelo Ball, they're not going to be a really good team. And LaMelo Ball should be able to return within the next couple of weeks, probably. So that will be a good thing to see for them. But you got guys like Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward, who I think you should be available to trade because I feel like you can get some good pieces out of those guys that will definitely help you more towards the future. At number 25, here we got the Memphis Grizzlies, who going to drop one spot here. Are 13 and 23, so definitely a better record than who we've been looking at so far. And they went 3-1 this week, so pretty good week there. Just obviously with a John Morant injury, I wasn't going to move them up because losing the best player, they're not going to be a very good team again. Like they were for the first half of the season when John Morant wasn't playing. John Morant only played 9 games for them, and I believe they have 6 wins with John Morant, and they have 7 wins then without John Morant in like 25 games or something. So John Morant definitely was leading you guys to a lot more wins. And you got a couple assets on your team, not much. You just got like John Conchar and Luke Kennard, who guys that aren't going to be on your team next year probably. So try to get something out of them. 24, you got the Brooklyn Nets, 1-3 on the week. Not a good week for them. 16-21 overall isn't bad, but you had a bad week this week. Ben Simmons, still not back yet, so that's definitely a problem there. Darren Sharp is going to be out for a couple of weeks as well. Hurt you guys a little bit there with your depth. You didn't play horrible in some of your games this week. You only lost to the Thunder by 9 points. I thought that was pretty solid outing there. But then you got destroyed by the Pelicans. You lost to the Rockets and you lost to the Portland Trailblazers. So that's pretty sad there. You got some guys that definitely could be assets. Spencer Dinwiddie is somebody that you might be able to trade. You might be willing to trade. Obviously, he hasn't been playing great this season. So if you could try to get something out of him, maybe. But a guy like Royce O'Neal and Dorian Finney-Smith, I feel like a lot of contenders are going to be trying to snag those guys from you, and you might be able to squeeze a first-round pick out of a contender for a guy like Royce O'Neal or Dorian Finney-Smith. At number 23, we got the Atlanta Hawks. They're 14 and 21, went 1-2 on the week. They're not playing great basketball right now, but they're the Hawks. They're about a middle of the road team, and that's how they've been for the last few seasons. They did beat the Thunder this week, so that's really good there. They beat the Thunder by 3, and then they got blown out by the Pacers and lost to the Magic by 7, so that wasn't bad. But good win over the Thunder. You got some assets on your team. Clint Capella and Sadiq Bey. I would definitely want you guys to trade Clint Capella. Sadiq Bey is not a must trade. It's just that he's on an expiring deal, and I don't know if you guys would want to pay him in the offseason. So you're not going to pay him in the offseason, then obviously try to get something out of him because I think he can get you a pretty decent package. But a guy like Clint Capella, I feel like definitely somebody you should look to trade because he's going to get $20 million next season. And I feel like he is a guy that, you need to trade right now as opposed to trading next year because, you're going to get more out of a guy that's has an extra year on his contract. And he can definitely help a contender out like the Los Angeles Clippers is one of the things I have here. Getting like Bones Highland, Terrence Mann, and a Daniel Theis package for Clint Capella sounds like a pretty good option for the Atlanta Hawks. At number 22, we got the Chicago Bulls, who are 17 and 21, went 2-2 on the week. Pretty solid week for them. 2-2 is just fine, just about how they've been doing the last few weeks. They've been pretty decent. You lost to the Sixers and you lost to the Knicks and you beat the Hornets twice. So, you're going to drop one spot here because your 2 wins are against the Hornets twice. So, if you would have lost one of those games, that'd be kind of embarrassing. But you didn't play horrible in the other 2 games against good teams in the Sixers and Knicks. Losing by 13 and 16 isn't completely bad. But you definitely should be complete deadline sellers, I would say, giving up literally everybody here: Zach LaVine, DeMar, Nikola Vucevic, and Alex Caruso. I feel like at the very least, you got to trade DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic because DeRozan's an expiring deal. You're definitely not going to re-sign him. And Nikola Vucevic has just been regressing ever since he came to Chicago. And he only has 1 more year on his contract, so I feel like you need to maximize any value you can get out of him to help make you guys look like a better team for the future. And if you're going to be trading those 2 guys, you might as well probably try to trade Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso as well just to go full sell mode. Or you could maybe keep Zach LaVine because I feel like he could still be a solid piece going forward for your team. But Alex Caruso should definitely be a guy you look to trade as well because I feel like contenders might be willing to give up a first-round pick for Alex Caruso for sure. At number 21, we got the Los Angeles Lakers, who are 18 and 19, went 1-2 on the week. Not a great week for them so far, but they haven't been playing great basketball the last few weeks. They did make some minor roster changes here, cut in Demoy Hodge and Alex Fudge, 2 guys who don't really play, who aren't really good when they do get limited minutes. And they signed guys like Dylan Windler and Skylar Mays, who have historically, not been great players, but have been solid, been efficient shooters for the most part. So I feel like that's definitely some decent signings for them. I feel like Skylar Mays could actually be a pretty decent rotational piece for this Lakers team. Dylan Windler, probably not so much. But for you guys, you got a lot of assets on your team that are nothing really. I mean, D'Angelo Russell is a potential asset, but I would like to not trade him if unless you're getting a really good player, which does not seem very likely. But it is the Lakers; they're tied to like everybody somehow. Then you got guys like Max Christie, Jackson Hayes, and Jalen Hood-Schifino, who aren't really good players, but those are your only guys you can really try to trade without trading a good asset. Like Jared Vanderbilt is not a good player so far this year on offense, but he's definitely an asset you guys could trade. But I would like to keep him. But if you could try to package guys like Max Christie, Jackson Hayes, and Jalen Hood-Schifino, and then a bunch of second-round picks because you also don't have any first-round picks, then that's basically your best offer for somebody if you're just trying to add a piece to your team without really losing anybody. I don't think you're going to be able to get a guy like Alex Caruso or Sadiq Bey or Cam Thomas with that package, but definitely something you should try to do. At number 20, we got the Houston Rockets, 2-2 on the week, 18-17 overall, so they're a pretty solid team this year. Beat the Nets by 11 this week, beat the Bucks by 4, so that was really good to see there. Then they got blown out by the Timberwolves and they had a 7-point loss to the Heat. So, you beat the Bucks, that's a really good win there, and then, that's really all you got to say here. And they got a couple assets. Oh, sorry. Got a couple assets here in Reggie Bullock and Jeff Green, who are just some veteran guys that I feel like contenders might like to have on their team, and you also can try to trade them for potential dudes that could be future pieces for you, like a Kenan Martin and Mo Bamba package. At number 19, you kind of already seen it. It's the Golden State Warriors. What the heck? Oh, don't do that. It's the Golden State Warriors here, 2-2 on the week, 17-19 overall. Obviously, Draymond's going to be coming back, but probably not this week. So I did not take into effect Draymond's return for this power rankings because he's probably not playing this week anyways. But you guys definitely got some assets here, like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Andrew Wiggins for sure. And you got plenty of guys you can go after, like Pascal Siakam maybe, DeMar DeRozan, or Nikola Vucevic potentially, Sadiq Bey and Jalen Johnson package, or like a Jordan Clarkson and Kelly Olynyk package from the Jazz is not a horrible idea as well. At number 18, we do got the Toronto Raptors here. Went 2-1 on the week. They looked a lot better since they made that OG Anunoby trade. They've actually been playing pretty good basketball the last couple of weeks. You still got some assets you can definitely try to trade over here, with Pascal Siakam being the obvious one. And they got like Thaddeus Young, who's just an extra contract that you might have to put into a trade. But definitely try to get a package consisting of like Moses Moody, Kuminga, and Andrew Wiggins from the Warriors, or like a Jalen Johnson and DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks, or like a Harrison Barnes package there from Sacramento Kings. That wouldn't be the best option, but you can also add some picks onto that, obviously. But yeah, at number 17, you got the Phoenix Suns, who are 1-3 on the week, 19-18 overall. They're not a great team right now, this week at least. They're a pretty decent team overall. Obviously, have not been the healthiest team. I thought they looked pretty solid the last couple weeks with Bradley Beal coming back, but this week, I believe they were mostly healthy all week, with their big three at least all playing. But they still did not have a very good week for them. They ended up playing the Clippers and lost by 9. They beat the Heat by 16. Then they lost to the Grizzlies and they lost to the Clippers by 27 just last night. So not the best week for them. And you got some dudes that you could be trading, like Jordan Goodwin, Damian Lee, Josh Okogie, and Caleb HD. So not really a lot of assets there, but you definitely got a couple of guys. Like, you're in a better spot than the Lakers. You at least have a couple of guys who could be role players for teams right now that you could trade. Well, the Lakers really do not, and you could target a guy like Alex Caruso, or try to bring a Landry Shamet back to your team. At number 16, we do got the Orlando Magic, who are 21-15, went 2-2 on the week, so not the best week for them as opposed to the last couple of weeks. They've been a little bit better than 2-2, but they're kind of sliding a few spots in my rankings because they haven't had the best last couple of weeks. But, they're still a pretty solid team right now. There's 5 teams in the East that are 21-15, so that's really interesting. I definitely think you guys should be trying to go get that next piece to make you guys just be solidified into that upper tier of Eastern Conference playoff teams. Going out and getting a guy like Zach LaVine, Mikal Bridges, or Kyle Kuzma is definitely a guy that guys that I think would be very beneficial to your team. And you got to trade one of your point guards there with Markelle Fultz and Cole Anthony. Probably Markelle Fultz, because he is probably the worst player. He's also the older player, and he's on an expiring deal, so someone's going to have to pay him some money. So I would like to get rid of him. And then you got guys like Gary Harris and Jonathan Isaac, who are just some contract dudes who you don't really mind getting rid of. And then Jet Howard is your rookie that doesn't play for you right now, so definitely could be valuable to bring in a really good player like Zach LaVine. At number 15, we got the Utah Jazz, who are 18 and 20, went 3 and 1 in the week. They've been pretty solid the last couple of weeks, and they continue to do that this week. I do think they should probably try to be sellers to the deadline a little bit, like just with their veteran guys like Jordan Clarkson and Kelly Olynyk, because I feel like you need to try to, especially get rid of Kelly Olynyk because it's his last year on his contract, and you're not going to re-sign him, at least not for a lot of money. So I don't think you really need to try to keep him around on your team. Jordan Clarkson is a guy who has like 2 more years on his deal, but I feel like he definitely would benefit by getting you a younger player because, contending teams would definitely be willing to give up some dudes for that. I feel like you could potentially swing a Warriors trade there, potentially, to get Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and Andrew Wiggins for for all three of these guys right here, and probably a pick or something. But I feel like that's a pretty solid package if you could try to swing that. If not, just try to just get some young guys in cap space and stuff. Number 14, we got the Indiana Pacers, who are 21 and 15, went 3 and 1 on the week. They're going to drop 4 spots here because of the Tyrese Halliburton injury. He's going to be out for about 2 weeks. You guys did play pretty good this week. You beat the Bucks by 12. You destroyed the Hawks. You played the Celtics twice, and you won one time, and you lost one time. So, pretty solid week for them. You got a couple pieces you can try to trade on your team, like Jordan Nwora, Jalen Smith, and TJ McConnell. Nwora does not play. Smith is your third string center, and McConnell, you're trading him just because you're trying to upgrade a backup point guard here, trying to get a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, Terry Rozier, or Jordan Clarkson to bring and upgrade your backup point guard spot here. At number 13, we got the New Orleans Pelicans, who are 22 and 15, got 3 and 1 on the week. That's a pretty solid week for the Pelicans. They ended up beating the Nets by 27, beat the Timberwolves. They did lose to the Clippers, and then they blew out the Sacramento Kings. So pretty solid week for them overall. They've been a pretty decent team overall this year. And yeah, but you guys definitely got some dudes you can try to trade. Kyra Lewis does not really play for you. Larry Nance has been a good backup center. Jose Alvarado has been an inefficient backup point guard for you guys. And you also got Dyson Daniels as another backup guard. And then you got Jeremiah Robinson Earl, who does not play for you guys either. So I feel like if you can try to package all of these dudes to get you a significant upgrade at the backup center spot with a guy like Nikola Vucevic or Miles Turner, that would definitely put you guys into a solidified top 6 playoff seed, I feel like. At number 12, we got the Miami Heat, who are 21 and 15, with 2 and 1 on the week. Sitting here, going to drop 3 spots in my rankings, just because a lot of the teams below them, like there was like 4 or 5 teams that went undefeated this week, and they're all going to be jumping at the Miami Heat here. So that's why you're dropping 3 spots, even though you had a pretty decent week, going 2 and 1. You played. Let's see, you played the Lakers and you won. You played the Rockets and won, and you lost to the Suns. So pretty solid week for you guys overall. You got a couple assets on your team that you could try to trade. You really need probably to upgrade your Haywood Highsmith backup 4 spot. He hasn't been too great for you guys. He hasn't been bad, but he definitely is somebody you could try to trade ready to get upgrade. And you got some young guys like RJ Hampton and Nikola Jovic who aren't really playing for you guys right now, so definitely could try to trade those guys for a better player right now, like Sadiq Bey, Kelly Olynyk, or Jonathan Kuminga. I feel like would all be pretty solid options. Of course, Kelly Olynyk was on the Heat before, so that'd be an interesting piece to get back on your team. At number 11, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 21 and 15, with 3 and 0 on the week here. You got a couple assets on your team that you could trade. With Karis LeVert, Dean Wade, Georges Niang, and Isaac Okoro. I'm only trading Isaac Okoro if we're gonna get Pascal Siakam on this team. I don't really think you really need to be trying to trade Isaac Okoro. I don't think you really want to trade for Pascal Siakam. It'd be cool, but I don't know if it's necessarily worth all you've had to give up. But this week specifically, you guys played the Wizards twice and you won by a lot both times, and you played the Spurs and won by 2, so that's good there. And you did cut Ricky Rubio because he's going to retire. He hasn't played at all this season. But yeah, you definitely got some assets here. I feel like DeMar DeRozan is a solid player you could try to get. You're only really giving up Karis LeVert because Dean Wade plays a little bit, but he's not too impactful. And Georges Niang does not really play hardly at all. Hasn't been a really good signing this year. So trying to get a guy like DeMar DeRozan or Kyle Kuzma or even Andrew Wiggins, I think is not a bad option. Of course, I'm only putting Isaac Okoro in that Pascal Siakam trade. If you do not get Pascal Siakam, I feel like you do not have to trade Isaac Okoro. At number 10, we got the Milwaukee Bucks, who went 1 and 3 on the week. Not a good week for them. 25 and 12 overall. So they're going to drop all the way down from number 4 to number 10. They lost to the Pacers by 12. You only beat the Spurs by 4. You lost to the Rockets, and you lost to the Jazz by 16. It's not a great week for you guys. You got basically you got one dude that really matters that you could trade, Pat Connaughton, that you could trade him, and you got a couple of younger guys like Andre Jackson and Chris Livingston, and you do have a second round pick for this year. That's basically your whole trade assets right now. Not a lot to work with, but I feel like you could try to get a guy like Sadiq Bey or Royce O'Neal um, in that trade package, which isn't horrible because that definitely gives you a significant upgrade over Pat Connaughton, and you do not have to give up much extra assets to do so. At number 9, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 25-10, 1-2 on the week. Still one of the best teams in the league right now. They've just not been great the last couple of weeks, so that's why they're sitting here at number 9. This week, they lost to the Pelicans by 11, lost to the Mavs by 7, and then they destroyed the Rockets. So the Rockets are a decent team, and you destroyed them, so that's cool. But losing the other two games, you're going to stay here about in the same spot. And you got a couple guys you can try to trade, like Shake Milton and Jordan McLaughlin, who have been very inefficient guards for you guys. Wendell Moore's not really playing. He's a young guy. You just need there to be another asset. You can go try to get like a guy like Alex Caruso, Devontae Graham, or Orlando Shamet for your team. At number 8, we got the Philadelphia 76ers, who are 23-12 and 1-2 on the week. So not a great week for them. Going to drop a couple spots here. They beat the Bulls by 13. That's cool. Then they lost to the Jazz by 11 and got destroyed by the Knicks by over 30 points. That wasn't cool to see that, but you definitely got some assets you can trade right now. You got Marcus Morris, Mo Bamba, and Kenyon Martin, who, of course, you got Kenyon Martin and Marcus Morris in the James Harden trade, and those guys have not really been real assets for you guys right now. So I feel like you could try to trade those guys, and you add in Mo Bamba there. And then you got a first-round pick from the Raptors here that you could try to trade. Or you could trade your own first-round pick, whatever, depending on, what you're going to try to do here. But I think getting a good scoring guard like Rozier or Jordan Clarkson off the bench, because right now your bench does not score a lot of points. So getting a guy like Jordan Clarkson or Terry Rozier would definitely help that out a lot. Sorry, you might be hearing some stuff. It's just some snow falling off the roof here. At number 7, we got the Sacramento Kings, who are 21-14, went 2-2 on the week. Pretty decent week for them, not the best. They did cut Juan Toscano Anderson this week, who's not really much of an impactful player, but he's definitely a dude that we know, so I'm just wanted to put that in there. They lost to the Hornets, lost to the Pelicans, they beat the Magic and the Raptors, though, so a pretty solid week for them. You definitely are leaked into that Pascal Siakam trade rumors. I think you've said basically that you really don't want to do that, but I feel like I feel like you guys should definitely try to do that. You're only going to put Harrison Barnes and Sasha Vezenkov in this if you're getting Pascal Siakam. If you're not getting Pascal Siakam, you can try to trade Davion Mitchell and Chris Duarte and maybe a pick to try to get a guy like Alex Caruso or Orlando Shamet for this team. At number 6, you got the Dallas Mavericks, who are 22-15, went 3-0 on the week. Pretty solid week for the Dallas Mavericks, of course. Going undefeated is always a good thing, even if it is only for 1 week. But they're going to jump up actually 10 spots here from 16 all the way to 6, just because they played really good this week. They beat the Blazers by 30 twice, and they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. So they had a really impressive week. And you got a couple losses on their team, like some young guys like Jaden Hardy and Olivier Max Prosper, and then you got some veterans like Markieff Morris and Rashawn Holmes that you need for some salary cap filler, which you can go try to get guys like. You really need like a backup 4, really, because try to upgrade over Max Prosper / Markieff Morris right now. Try to get a guy like Kuminga, Sadiq Bey, Dorian Finney-Smith, or Bojan Bogdanovic. Definitely all options that you guys can try to go after to make you guys a better team. At number 5, we do have the New York Knicks, who are also, went 3-0 on the week and are going to jump up 10 spots here in their ranking from 15 all the way to number 5. They've just been playing really, really good this week, so I'm going to jump them up quite a bit. They beat the Sixers by 36 points. That's a big part of it. And they beat the Bulls and they beat the Wizards by 16 each. So they won by an average of like 20-some points per game this week, and they beat the Sixers by 36. So they're going to, go up quite a bit. You don't have a whole lot of assets you can trade. You got Evan Fournier's contract, a couple guys like Miles McBride and Jericho Sims who are people. Then you got a few first-round picks. You got the Pistons lottery-protected pick this year, the Mavs top 10 protected, and your own first-round pick. So you got definitely a couple picks you can trade. I feel like you got to package Evan Fournier with maybe 2 of these picks to try to go get like a guy like Terry Rozier or Jordan Clarkson, but you definitely lost your backup guard spot there with Emmanuel Quickly going out in that trade. So trying to get it back here with a couple picks and Evan Fournier is not a bad option. At number 4, you got the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are 24-11, went 2-2 on the week. So not the best week for them, but I still didn't want to drop them below a team like the Knicks just because they've been playing the better basketball over the course of the season by far. So I didn't want to disrespect them too bad by making this week drop them all the way below the New York Knicks. They beat the Celtics by 4 this week. Then they ended up losing to the Celtics by 3. Or wait, losing to the Hawks by 3. Sorry, they beat the Celtics by 4, lost to the Hawks by 3, lost to the Nets, and then beat the Wizards. So definitely should have beat the Hawks, but they're not a horrible team, so it's not too bad. Too bad there. You definitely got some dudes that I would like you guys to try to trade some of your young guys to get you a really good backup center here in Nikola Vucevic or Miles Turner because you got so many young pieces on this team. Um, and you don't really have a good backup center on your roster right now. You got Jalen Williams, who's a dude, but I feel like, trying to go get a bigger name like Nikola Vucevic or Miles Turner just to more jumpstart your rebuild. Because obviously your rebuild is working very well because you're one of the best teams in the league right now. But you still have so many young guys on the roster that I think you're going to have to package sooner or later for a star player to get you guys over the hump. At number 3, we got the Denver Nuggets, who are 26-12, but 2-1 on the week. So they've been pretty solid so far this season. This week, they lost to the Magic by 2. Um, they beat the Pistons and they beat the Warriors. So not a bad week there. You were 2 points away from being undefeated the week. You did lose Julian Strother. He didn't have a for sure timeline on his injury, but he's going to be out for a couple of weeks at least. But that's not a horrible thing there. You don't have a lot of depth right now, which is why you're going to try to trade potentially some of these guys like Jalen Pickett, Justin Holiday, Hunter Tyson, and Zeke Naji, because none of these guys really play for your team, and they're not really most of them aren't really great players when they do play. So trying to get a good wing on your team like Torrey Craig, bring him back, or a guy like Steve Fay or Jimmy Osman, I think would definitely help you guys out a lot. At number 2, we got the Los Angeles Clippers here, 23-13, 3-1 on the week. They've been playing really good basketball recently. They beat the Suns by 9, beat the Pelicans by 16, destroyed the Suns again by 27, and then lost to the Lakers by 3. So kind of like the Nuggets, you guys were one shot away from being, undefeated on the week. So not a bad thing there. You definitely got a whole bunch of guys on your team that you can try to trade away. You got like Bones Highland, Brandon Boston, Daniel Tice, Amir Coffey, who are all definitely people. Bones Highland is really their only guy there that's much of an asset. But you got guys like Peter Tucker or Terrence Mann who you could trade. I would like to only trade one of those guys if you're going to do anything. But I feel like trying to trade a package of like Bones Highland, Terrence Mann, and Daniel Tice for a guy like Bojan Bogdanovic or Clint Capella from the Hawks, that would be a pretty good option there. You definitely got some options you guys can try to do without giving up a whole lot of assets. You're only going to give up Peter Tucker or Terrence Mann if you're going to get Bojan Bogdanovic or Clint Capella. If you're just going after a guy like Royce O'Neal, you don't got to give up anything really besides Bones Highland and Daniel Tice. Maybe a guy like Brandon Boston and Amir Coffey, just, fill out some salary or something. At number 1, we got the Boston Celtics, who are 28-8, 2-2 on the week. So not a great week for them either, but they definitely been playing the best basketball all season. They lost to the Thunder by 4, beat the Jazz by 30, beat the Pacers by 17, and then lost to the Pacers by 2. So, I would have liked to put the Thunder over the Celtics this week because they did beat them. But then the Thunder ended up, losing a couple games of their own as well. But the Celtics, you don't got much guys that you can try to trade. But you do got some first-round picks you can still trade. So you got some guys like Peyton Pritchard and O'Shea Brissett, Jordan Walls, Jelana Banton, who are not really big assets, but definitely guys that some teams might try to be, a little bit interested in. And you got plenty of first-round picks you can try to trade to get a guy like Alex Caruso or Cam Thomas to be on this team. Top performers of the week, you got Joel Embiid had a 30-point triple-double. Domantas Sabonis had a 23-19 game, a 22 and 23 rebound game with 12 assists. He had a 20-20 triple-double. That's really cool. Then he had another 24-point triple-double. So he was playing really big, really good basketball all week long. Jared Allen had a 17-19 game, so a near 20-20 game for him. Jaylen Brown put up 40. Luka put up 40. AD had 29-17 with 5 blocks. So he played a really good game there. Paolo had 2 different great games with a 43-piece and a 30-point triple-double. Giannis had a 40-point, 14-board game, a 48-17 game, and then a 25-point triple-double there. Wemby put up 27-9 with 5 blocks. Then he put up 24 and 10 with 5 blocks. Halliburton had 18 assists in only 25 minutes. Then he had, 17, 6, and 5 with 5 steals in a game, so that's really good to see there. Mikal Bridges put up a 40 bomb. Yusuf Nurkic and Ivanka Zubac both had a near 20-20 game with 18 and 19 points for Nurkic. and 22 points and 19 boards for Ibaka Zubac. So yeah, my award races here this week, MVP race. You got Embiid and Jokic at 1 and 2. Then you're gonna get Shea and Luka jumping up one spot each, with Giannis dropping down all the way to 5 on that. Most improved player, you got Maxey and Sengun staying at the same spot. You got Scotty Barnes and Tyrese Halliburton each jumping up one spot, while Kobe White goes and drops to number 5. And clutch player of the year, you got a whole new list here. You got Shea at 1, Dame at 2, Halliburton at 3, LeBron at 4, and Curry at 5 there. The rookie of the year stayed the exact same. Sixth man of the year had Tim Hardaway, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Malik Monk all jump up to 1, 2, and 3 there. And then you got Austin Reeves fell to 4, and Cole Anthony fell all the way to number 5. Coach of the year stayed exactly the same, except Nick Nurse actually snuck his way up to number 5 right now after he's had a good last couple of weeks. So yeah, that is my video. Thank you for watching. It might have been a little bit longer because I was trying to explain some of these trade assets and stuff, but in a couple more weeks, I'll probably make a whole separate video for NBA trades that I would like to see happen. So that's why I didn't go really in the depth a lot with all of my trade assets and stuff that I had listed out here. Because in a couple of weeks, probably like right before the trade deadline, I will make a video explaining more in detail trades that I would like to see happen. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to check out my NFL videos as well, and come back next week for an updated power ranking.